The following processes may get messy, so make sure to wear something you don't mind getting dirty, or wear a very large apron. Don't wear school trousers like I'm doing right now. And here you go. So, I'm going to be making a red velvet cake today, and then hopefully, if you follow the method correctly, you can make one just as good as I have. Now, if you notice my hands are very red, that'll be the beetroot in it. I just grated that because that is probably going to take the longest, and it's also very, very, very messy. Yeah. So, here we have all the ingredients we need. So, let's go through them. Ingredient list. Number 1. 275 grams of normal sugar. Then 125 grams of grated beetroot. Actually, these are from my garden, so yay. But they don't have to be. Okay. Then we have 350 grams of self-raising flour. 4 eggs, 75 grams of cocoa powder, which seems like a lot, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 250 grams of salted butter, or unsalted, but you can choose either. It works better with salted though. And 2 tablespoons of orange juice. Okay, so I'll show you how to make it. Hi. So, first step is line 2 sandwich tins, approximately 21.5 centimetres in diameter and 3.5 centimetres in depth. Line them with greaseproof paper, unless they are greaseproof themselves. Like that. But, you know, a bit neater. So, then you're going to heat the oven to gas mark 4 or 180 degrees Celsius. Hang on, wrong thing. Right, here we go. So, step 1 is to cream the butter and the sugar. Percy, no, I know you won't. No, sorry about that. I think Percy was enjoying his moment of attention a little bit too much. So, as I was saying, cream the butter and the sugar together. So, first of all, what you're going to want to do though is chop up the butter into small parts. Maybe about that big. And that'll help it to cream easier and it'll be done faster. So, I'll leave you to do that and come back in a sec. So, you should be creaming this until the mixture goes light and fluffy. So, you can use a wooden spoon, but also make sure you've washed your hands, and then you can use your hands, which are a lot easier to use. Oh, it's so satisfying as well. After a while, you can go a little faster. That's it. So, this is the sort of consistency you want. So it's sticking together and not leaving any on the bottom of the bowl. That's it. When it's gotten to that consistency, do it a little bit more and it should go a little bit more sticky. Now, when it does that, that's when you stop. When it doesn't stick to the bottom, that's when you're nearly there. And when from there it starts getting a little bit more sloppy, that's when you end it. Okay? So, that's it. And that's the sort of consistency you kind of want. So, what you want to do now is gradually start adding in the eggs. So, what you want to do now is definitely use a wooden spoon for this bit. Crack the eggs on a flat surface like your table. Put your thumbs in where the crack is and then split. And then you can put this eggshell in the bin. Don't bother about washing your hands because you're going to do it another 4 times anyway. Right, so you can take your spoon and then you can start mixing it. Okay. So, when it kind of looks a lot more sloppy and it's sliding around in the bowl and you cannot see any remnants of that last egg, then you add in the next one. So, same process, on a flat surface, put your fingers into that crack and then you can go and put this another eggshell in the bin. Try to burst the yolk a little bit early because then it won't start sliding around and it won't. A lot of the time the yolk can slip out of the reach of the spoon and it doesn't burst till like ages. Oh, little bit of shell. Yeah, so if you find a little bit of shell in there like that might have fallen in with the egg, then just go and pick it out and pop it in the bin. Okay. Now, if you've ever heard the term curdled,
this is where it happens. So, a lot of people think that curdling is just something that happens and it ruins the mixture. You've done something completely wrong and it's ruined and you have to completely start over again. But actually, it's really, really common. I've had it happen to me loads, probably more than it's not actually. I'm a bit lucky so far, as you can see, but if you can see that it's starting to sort of split and go lumpy, and there's like the egg white seems to be going through the lumps like cracks and it's really nasty looking, then that's when it's curdled. And how you stop that, a lot of people think that you can't stop it, but actually you can. Take your flour and add in a tablespoonful and start mixing it thoroughly. If it's still not quite there, add in another tablespoonful until it gets back to that sort of consistency where it's a lot more normal. So that's a quick tip for all cakes on how to avoid curdling. So then you can carry on. Okay, so it'll start to go a lot lighter and a lot smoother, a bit like very, very, very buttery mash. Then you can add in your next egg. Again, same process. So again, pop the yolk early and then you can mix. Oops. So yeah. Sometimes you'll mix a little bit too hard and it'll spill out, so you can just get a cloth and wipe it up. Hello.
Hello.
Hang on, I'm just cooking.
Are you all okay?
Yeah. Sorry about that. That was my mum entering.
Oh. Hello.
That's my science teacher, hopefully. Hello.
Hello, science teacher.
Her name's Mrs. Dean.
Hello, Mrs. Dean. You found some beetroot then?
Yeah, in the garden.
Fabulous. That's good. That's success.
Yes. Right, okay. So, carry on with your mixing. Now, mine looks a little bit on the brink of almost curdling. Yeah, I think that might. Which is very common, so don't worry if it happens. You can kind of tell, because as you can see, it's gone quite lumpy. Not very nice looking. A little bit like, almost like lemon. Right, okay. Well, I'll see how it goes. It's not curdling yet, but it might after the last egg. Okay. Again, like I said before, same process. Okay. Pop the yolk early and mix.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You got everything you need?
Yep.
I'm going to go in the dining room. I need to laminate.
Okay, just be aware that my science teacher can hear all this.
Okay. I'm laminating.
Okay. Sorry about her. Right, that does look on literally the very, very, very brink of curdling. So I'm just going to add in, not even a whole tablespoon, just half a tablespoon of flour, just to keep it at bay. Okay. Remember, when I say of flour, I mean the flour you already have. Don't put extra flour in, otherwise it'll be very, very dry. So just pop a little bit of flour in early, and that should hopefully prevent it. There we go. Mix it gently when there's flour in there, because it will just all puff up. There we go. That's a little bit better. Actually, I might add in a little bit more. Slowly, with the flour in it at first, and then you can build up the speed a little. That's it. That's a lot better. There we go, that's a lot nicer looking. So, okay, now you've done that, we can move on to the next thing. Hiya, okay. So, actually, just another tip. After I stopped filming that bit, my mixture did curdle a little bit more. So I had to add in a little bit more than just a tablespoon. If it properly curdles, then what you can do is sprinkle in a little bit from the actual bowl, like so. Not too much, otherwise it will thicken too much, and the mixture will become a lot more solid, and it will be really kind of hard, chewy. Because at the moment, what we're trying to do is get some air into the mixture, and if we keep putting flour in, it's just going to make it heavier and heavier and heavier until it's very hard to eat. So that's what you can do if it really does curdle, but like I say, not too much. You can kind of stop adding flour in when it looks a little bit like this. I know it's still lumpy and it looks a little bit curdled, but it'll all change when we add in the flour, and I'm not risking putting any more in. So when it gets to that sort of stage, you can stop. But like I say, yeah. Okay, so what we're going to try and do next is add in the beetroot. Hopefully you've grated the beetroot at the start. If not, try and do it now. You can pause the video or whatever. Warning, that is the bit nobody gets out of this a lot. I mean, clean. So, as you can see, I have my beetroot in a bowl, and I'm going to add it into the mixture. So, get a small spoon. It could be a teaspoon or a tablespoon, whatever. It doesn't really matter. And then you're just going to scrape it. Or apparently not. I'm not going to scrape it in. I thought it was going to be a little bit more sticky. Okay. Okay, in that case, scrape the rest of it in that didn't come out. There we go. Cool. Dylan from like 4 days into the future or something
3 days into the future. Woo! Okay, so in this next bit, at one point, I will realise that my mixture is quite dry. It's quite hard to beat. I will add some water to it because of the consistency, which is what you should do if your mixture is dry at this point. But this is actually, the consistency is like that because I completely forgot to add in the 2 tablespoons of orange juice. So in this next bit of video, where I say I'm going to add in some water, add in orange juice at that point. Okay, thank you, future Dylan. Oh, and as well as that, I accidentally put in the wrong amount of cocoa powder. I put in too much. I think I might have weighed too much or something like that. Either way, if you have 75 grams of it, don't put it all in. Put maybe, weigh it out again, and put maybe 55 to 60 grams in. Don't put in 75 because then it won't go red. Oh, I predicted the future. The cake doesn't turn out red. I'm very sorry if that's a spoiler. But the cake won't turn out red, and that's because I've put in too much cocoa powder, and it tastes very, very rich and chocolatey, which is good for a red velvet cake because it's a type of chocolate cake. Yeah, but it shouldn't be that chocolatey. The flavour of the beetroot should make up some of the flavour. So yeah, like I say, 55, 60 grams. Don't put in the full 75. Okay, so mix it in now. This is what should make your velvet cake a red velvet cake. Okay. And if you're worried about eating a cake and there's strands of beetroot coming out of your mouth and it's all stringy, do not worry one bit. Like most vegetables, beetroot are like, I don't know, like 80% water or something. So honestly, they will just burn off and all that will be left of them is the flavour and the colour. So don't worry about that at all. Oh, and while you're doing this, it's going to look exactly like it's just like curdled like a million more times. That's only because of the new colour contrast. The contrast between red shows the corners and the cracks a lot more. So do not worry one bit. And even if it has curdled, we're adding in the flour next. So there. So it should look a lot red now, like that. And then what we're going to do now is add in the flour. So you can add this in a little bit, otherwise it's all just going to go poof. So then you can mix. Mix a little bit more. Okay. Right, yeah. So it'll look a lot smoother, not curdled at all by the time you add it all in.
And then after this, we're going to add in the baking powder and the cocoa powder. It should get a little bit more tougher to mix over time. I'm going to add in the rest of mine now. It's quite a bit. It'll get a lot tougher, but hopefully it should start to get a little bit more sticky as it mixes in a lot more. That's it. This is the bit that hurts my arms the most because it's a lot thicker now with the flour in it, which is why you add it in towards the end. So that should be a little bit gloopy now, but nowhere near as wet as it was before. Okay, right. Let's add in the cocoa powder, which you can kind of just put in. I know it looks like a lot for one cake, but actually a red velvet cake is technically a type of chocolate cake. So, you know, it does kind of need that chocolatey flavour. And yeah, I wasn't even doing that too hard this time, but it does sometimes happen when you put powder in. All right. Alright, you can skip this bit if you want. If you are done, or you're a lot quicker than me because you're an adult and you're probably stronger than me, you could skip this part. But I'm just gonna finish. Right. Oh God. I'm also going to add in my bicarb of soda in a second, but if you're skipping this part, then I don't want you to miss it, because then where would we be? Right, okay. In fact, I might add a little bit of water to that. Not much at all, literally an absolute dribble. Oh, don't know if you can see this.
Hopefully you can. Right, okay. I'm going to add in a little bit of water, like literally a dribble, just because it's quite thick. Okay, that is enough. Literally it. No more whatsoever. Doesn't matter how dry your mixture is, even after you've put that in, don't put any more in. That's it. Okay, right, that should be okay. Right, okay, so now we're going to add in the baking powder. Mix it in really, really well, because this is going to be the last stage before it goes in the oven. And if it's not mixed, you're going to have streaks of red through the cake that's completely brown. Okay, right. Bleh. Right, so that was where it got messy, really, as well as the grating of the beetroot. That was probably going to be the messiest part. So yeah, now what you can do is, if we've got clean fingers, you can scrape a little bit off the side and just taste it, just to see if it's okay. Okay, so I think mine's quite good. So now, because you've licked your fingers, do not do it twice, because then you'll just be putting your spit back into it. And then wash your hands. Most definitely wash your hands. Percy, leave the chocolate alone. And a lot of people think, even like really, really, like I know somebody who is a daughter of quite a good chef, and both he and her believes that you should always use food colouring for a red velvet cake, even though the proper way to do it is to add beetroot, because years ago they didn't have red food colouring, surprisingly, and when they were making this cake, they wanted to add something to colour it. So they added beetroot, because obviously, you know, beetroot is quite a very good colourer. Anyway, and she was adamant
that you could not put it in. But it's not just for the colouring reasons. It's also, if you taste a red velvet cake that only has colouring in, it just tastes like a red chocolate cake, really. But with beetroot, it gives it another sort of flavour. It's a lot more earthy, and I quite like it. That's the reason my favourite cake is a red velvet. But also, I'm not really a big fan on red velvets that only use colouring, because then my favourite cake would just be a red chocolate cake. So a proper red velvet cake is made with beetroot, if you're questioning that. But obviously, yeah, you can make a red velvet cake with food colouring, but like I say, I prefer it with proper beetroot because it actually gives it a really nice, rich taste. Okay, so from there, you can kind of scoop it into your tin. So, that one hasn't actually been properly in. But, so you can scoop it in. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to place this. Can you see it from there? Okay, I think that's probably the best I can do, really. Okay, so then you're just going to bring it over and scoop it in with your wooden spoon. Okay, then you can do the other one. This is quite satisfying, actually. Right, okay. Okay. Doc. Right, so now if you have a palette knife, you can use one of those. I'm just going to actually, I have a palette knife. I do not know. Okay, so if you have a palette knife, you can use it indeed, but for me, I'm just going to use an ordinary butter knife. It doesn't matter which. Palette knife will probably be easier to use, but you can also use this just as well. Okay, so then I'm just going to scrape it over the tin so it's all flat and so it cooks evenly. Okay, and then the second one. Right, I think I might add a little bit more mixture to that one. I don't think Percy has left my side throughout this entire thing. Percy is my dog, by the way, if you keep wondering who this weird imaginary friend is. No, I'm not sad. I do have friends. Yeah. Oh no. Okay, right. So, that is how you're going to do it. So, if you didn't hear me earlier, you should have preheated your oven to gas mark 4 or 180 degrees Celsius. Percy, go away. Go away. You're not getting any. Right. So now, with oven gloves, or, you know, like kitchen towel or whatever, you can just pop them in, both on the same shelf, whatever shelf you're doing it at, both on exactly the same shelf. Yeah. So I'm going to... Right, Percy, right, you're going in here, because I don't want you to get burned. Okay. Hot, 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 hotty, hotty, hot. Put that in. And then I'm going to get this one. Yeah. And then you can wait till they cook, and I believe, yeah, okay, so it should be approximately 25 minutes, but depending on your different ovens, check after 20. Okay. If they're not ready by 25, then leave them in for an extra 5 minutes. Okay. See you in a bit. Oh, I know it's sad. I know it's so depressing, but really it's so important. Don't forget to clean up. Okay, so I've brought my 2 out of the oven at 20 minutes just to check on them, but I still need to know if they are cooked yet. So, what you do is get a sharp toothpick or something like that. I'm using the end of a spoon because, well, I'm me. And basically stick it into one of the cracks in the top of it. Okay, so mine has come out still like a little bit runny and a bit like kind of liquidy. So in that case, it's not ready at all. I think they might need another 5-10 minutes even. How about that one? That one. Actually, that one's alright. That one's clean. Okay, so if this happens, if it comes out completely and utterly clean, that means it's cooked all the way through and you can take it out and leave it out. I might put that in for another like 2 minutes, but that one needs to go in for another like 5-10 minutes. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, mine are now ready. So they're quite warm to the touch. They should be hot, but I've just been cleaning up. Hooray! Or boo, depending on where you're looking at it from. So both of mine are now cooked. And yeah, I was going to show you how to decorate it. Unfortunately, this video is probably taking far too long, and my mum really does want to cook tea, because at the moment it's yeah, I started this at 14:10. Yeah. So, thank you very much. And last little thing we're going to do, is it red? Hopefully, yes.
Done, done, done.
Okay, so I'm going to try and see. if it is indeed red. So you should be able to see it from there. There we go. Dun dun. Dun dun. Dun 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 Boo! Oh dear. Oh no. Oh no. I'll tell you what. It tastes alright. It was a good effort. Damn it. I think it was probably because I had to peel the beetroot, which I weighed before I peeled them. And I ended up, I think it was with only like 100. So that 25 grams does make all the difference. It was either that or I may have put in a little bit too much cocoa powder. But it tastes alright. It tastes really, really nice. I've tried a little bit off the top. Karma. I insult it by telling it I made a mistake and then it chokes me. Okay, apart from that bit, it is absolutely lovely apart from that. So thank you very much for watching, and you'll probably absolutely destroy this scientific method in class. You'll probably absolutely rip it to shreds. But for the time being, I have enjoyed making this, and I hope you do too. So thank you very much. This has taken actually probably like over 4 hours to do, which I never have made a cake so slowly in my life. But thank you, and I look forward to you absolutely destroying it in class. Thank you.